Just give me your general opinion, taken out, and this word will appear in the interview, the bullshit and hype behind social media. What's your take?
My take on the hype behind social media is that it takes me back to 1998, 1999, when digital recruitment came along. And I remember the COO of the organization I worked for at the time used to deliver a fantastic speech to our investors on Wall Street, which effectively was based around the topic or the theme of game over. The digital revolution has come along and recruitment has changed forever. People are all about now posting vacancies and posting CVs. And the places where you have the most vacancies and the most CVs are going to be the places where recruitment happens forever. So that organization happened to own a major job board. I'm sure you can figure out who it is. And they believed that they were in the strongest position to truly dominate recruitment for all time. Now, the interesting thing about that was that there was an element of, and with all due respect to that organization, there was an element of false guruism going on there. And I know I just made up an expression.
Like that one.
We can hashtag that instead.
Hashtag guruism.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah. So there was an element of false guruism in that what basically happened was that people took the notion of digital technology and they replicated an element of the way recruitment had always happened. There had always been boards where vacancies got posted, and there had always been places for people to send CVs. And there were people whose job it was to match those two up. They were called recruiters. So the digital world comes along and effectively took what recruiters did, right, and turned it into a transaction that one could handle over the internet with a credit card. Now, what they failed, I think, to think about in that respect was that that's not the only way that people get recruited. You know, that sometimes people get recruited through a conversation that they've had with a friend. Sometimes people get recruited because they're sat next to the right person on an airplane. Sometimes they get recruited because they happen to be driving past a careers fair and see that someone's hiring and they pop in on their lunch break and have an interview. So I think that what was forgotten at the time was that the technology that was coming along was absolutely going to change the way that recruitment happened, but that it wasn't going to be in such a narrow way as simply posting jobs and posting CVs. So what the sort of social revolution has done, I think in many respects, has created a similar challenge in that it's very early days in terms of the proliferation of social technology in the world of communications. It's very early days. And there's quite a few people out there who are already claiming that they have the answer to how it's all going to work. And we don't. It's still going to evolve. I mean, to your point about mobile phones, you know, the iPhone 4 has just come out, you know, give a little kudos to Apple for that. And it's got a piece of technology on it that will allow me to conduct video interviews over my phone, you know, to have a video chat holding my phone in my hand with somebody else having a video chat with their phone in their hand. Now, this technology sounds amazing, and it's something that I had as a slide in a PowerPoint presentation I was giving to people 3 and 4 years ago about what's to come. Well, it's now finally here, but will it take off? We don't know. Will it make a difference in the world of recruitment? We're not quite sure. And yet there are people who would sort of grab these statistics, meld them together, stick them into a slide deck up on SlideShare, send it out to their 200 Twitter followers, and end up, you know, being perceived in the industry as a guru. I think that anybody at the moment who's claiming that they know what the future holds, with the exception of a few individuals who, you know, have been there, done it, and got the T-shirt, I think that most of us are making, at best, guesses about what's to come.
What do you think are going to be the interesting things that go on in this industry, whether it be a project, whether it be the death finally of print?
I've got a couple of thoughts for you on this. First of all, I question the future of applicant tracking systems. And again, that is by no means to say that there aren't some very valuable tools out there, and quite a few of them that have been around a really long time, you know, through various name changes and various iterations of being, you know, client server based and web based and, you know, multinational and able to accommodate multiple languages. But at the same time, many of them have failed to match the pace of their innovation to the pace of the adoption of what their technology could do. And I think in many respects, the applicant tracking systems sit behind the failure of a lot of the HR community to readily accept digital technology's potential in the recruitment spectrum. And I think that that's something, you know, I really question the future of that when you see sites like LinkedIn beginning to experiment with, you know, the LinkedIn profile replacing the CV. And you're seeing organizations that are now beginning to allow someone to simply provide a URL to their LinkedIn profile in place of uploading a CV as part of an application form. Now, that's really interesting, because if LinkedIn take that the step further and begin to offer, for example, to an HR director or resourcing director, the ability to capture the profiles of people interested in your vacancies in a proprietary database for a fee, then why would you have an applicant tracking system? Especially if they began to, like YouTube and some of the other very large social media sites out there, begin to attach an analysis module that sits behind it. So suddenly, if you could see how many people have applied to your vacancies, how many people have you responded to and offered an interview to, who knows how many people you've interviewed over your iPhone 4, and the difference between whether you've hired more people through a video interview versus a live interview, they could add a level of analytics that the really advanced and savvy digital recruiters could see so useful and powerful that the applicant tracking system's future could be in question. And that's one I really like to look at, especially because so many ATSs have failed over the years to look at marketing data and how to integrate marketing statistics through the applicant tracking process. So that, for example, if I could tell whether my post on Facebook or my ad in Personnel Today magazine made a difference to the number of hires I got or the quality of candidates through the process. There are very few that join those two up, and I think that that's put the applicant tracking system in a very dangerous and difficult position. And obviously the other one I would say is going to be interesting is the job boards themselves, the big generic ones. We've seen that shift in trends. I remember years back, Careers Crossroads, statistics shifting. They used to do their annual source of hire survey in the US. And I remember when that stat changed from the majority of people found value in big job boards. Our cuckoo clock's going in the background.
Yeah, I'm going to get a picture. Don't go away. This is cool. Middle of an interview, we got a cuckoo clock. This is what I love. This is called social realism. Wussbrunndurk Technique. It's a wonderful clock. Right, I'm now going to scroll back and go across. So, where were we?
Absolutely. So I think we were on to job boards and career crossroads. I remember the first shift away from major career sites or major job boards as a number one source of candidates looking for jobs, and it's shifting to niche sites. And I remember thinking at the time that was really significant, because if you think about the way that people use the internet, the internet is so vast that people tend to try to cut the internet down into manageable chunks that suit certain aspects of their life. So if I'm an architect, I'm going to probably not spend as much time on the whole internet. I'm going to spend time on sites that are related to architecture or creative sites. So the fact that quite a few of these niche sites that have the right content for people who are in a particular profession are now offering them the ability to see jobs related to that profession. And if you look at any of the major blogs or major niche sites for just about any industry, they've all got a careers component. Suddenly the value of a big be-all, end-all sort of catch-all job board is in question. And I think certainly, there will, the big job boards, the Monsters and Total Jobs and Hot Jobs of the world, they've got the money to invest in the innovation to get themselves back into a strong position. But I just wonder if they add much value to the average person's life, apart from when they're in a really active job-seeking mode. And now that the world is becoming about engagement and conversations and links being passed around from friends to friends, how often do we just literally go to a big site like a Monster and search for jobs? How often do people go to the Times Online homepage and just browse the newspaper? So this is by no means a slate on job boards. I think that they serve a very important purpose, but I just question, certainly for some of the more specialized roles, whether they'll be able to maintain a foothold.
Absolutely brilliant interview. Thank you so much. Good luck in the new job. So give us one funnel. Give us the company and the URL, because it'll also appear on the blog and on YouTube and everywhere else we post.
Absolutely. So that's Blackbridge Communications, and you can find us at blackbridge.co.uk. You can also find us on Facebook if you search for Blackbridge Communications, and you would probably guess that you can also find us on Twitter and LinkedIn as well.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.